What's up, everybody? KG here. It has been a while since I have been on stream, but I felt like today was a good day to come out of the Bat Cave and talk to an old friend of mine who's always been supportive of what we're doing at Internet Money. He has, I guess, 2 cool projects now of his own. We're going to learn a lot about it today. I'm going to ask him every question that comes to mind. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. We'll get to them. This man really doesn't need an introduction. He might be one of the most recognizable characters in our whole community. But I'm excited to learn about his BBC today. It is my friend, Hexy Bastard.
What's up, bro? What's up? Yo, thanks for getting me on, man. That intro music you've got there is hard, mate. What is that?
I can't remember the artist's name, but I felt it was fitting for our futuristic alien there. I felt like that's what he'd be listening to.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's sick. That's like old school dubstep vibes. I used to be a dubstep DJ back in the day.
What?
And yeah. Long time ago, man. Like over 10 years ago now is when I was doing that. I used to, I did pretty well with it, actually. I supported some pretty good guys like, fucking hell, like Borgor, That's Sick.
Ooh.
Chasing Status, like all sorts, man. I did really well with it, like, but there's no money in that. I had to go work, man. I had to go.
Wait, you played with Borgor and Dat Sick?
Not with them. Like I supported them, so I was like one of the acts, like before those guys.
Wow.
Yeah, man. That's one of my like biggest achievements, man. Like I had a KFC with Borgor. Like that's the coolest thing I've ever done, I think, honestly.
Man, you have me beat. I was in a Call of Duty lobby with Borgor once back in the day, so that's my
really?
That's like my But no, you got me beat, dude. That's really cool. My wife and I, we're big dubstep heads, and we try to see everybody, or not so much anymore since we've had the kiddos. But oh yeah, dubstep played a huge role in our life, so it's cool to meet another one in the wild.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's been a while actually since I've listened to any of that. But man, that's all I used to listen to back in the day. That and drum and bass and stuff, and just like heavy bass music. And it's kind of changed now. It got super electronic, man. I used to like the really deep, kind of dank, dark, just atmospheric stuff. And then guys like Skrillex came along and just made it this just mishmash of random sound effects and shit like that. But it's still good, but it wasn't the same. And then that's when I kind of like had to get a job, you know.
You're right. I could see being not only a DJ, but a DJ in a really underground niche community being even harder to make a decent living at.
Oh, mate, I used to lose money. Like I remember getting booked. I remember getting booked for gigs, right? And they'd pay me, I don't know, £80 to do it, but it would cost me like 100 to get there and have a hotel for the night and stuff. So it's like, but I just did it for fun, right? Like it was just enjoyable to go and play to a crowd and like have the controls. I don't know, man. It was fun. Like made a little bit of money out of it, but I kind of just did it for the enjoyment more than anything. And when someone says, "Hey, do you want to come play this event?" and you're going to be supporting, I don't know, Flux Pavilion or something like that, I was like, "Yo, bro, yes,
of course."
I don't even care. I'll pay you. I'll pay you.
Exactly. Where do I pay? Where do I sign up?
Yeah. No, it was good, man. That was a long time ago. I almost forget that I even did that at one point. But yeah, it was a lot of fun when I did it, man. I'd maybe even get back into some. I'm a bit more about my actual instruments and stuff now. So I'm actually in a little 2-piece band. I play guitar and I sing and stuff. But it's more of just fucking around, really. We're not
Sure.
we're not serious with it or anything. Like, but it's fun. Like I get a lot of enjoyment out of making music and stuff. But there's no career there, unless you're super talented and very lucky. There's no money in any of that. So, but yeah, hey ho, it's one of them.
I hear you. Are you in your new 2-piece band like a Tenacious D style vibe? What do you got going there?
We're kind of try. I mean, actually, what we've mainly been doing is like covers and stuff. But we have this kind of like comedy approach, but we've not really like laid any proper songs out yet. But we have a couple of like little jams that we do. So one of the things we do. Have you heard that song by Punjabi MC? That
Yeah, I
one,
think so. I think so.
We've got like a little remix of that, but we haven't like done the vocals side of it. Like it's like a metal version of it. It's kind of
Oh,
weird.
nice.
Dead acoustic, and then it kind of breaks out into something a bit heavier with like a big breakdown and all sorts. It's fun. We're just messing around really, but yeah, like we practice. Well, we haven't been lately because I've just moved house, but like before that, we were practicing maybe a couple of times a week, and it's just really good fun. Like we know we're not going to get anywhere with it. We probably will never even play a gig, other than maybe my crypto friends might want to see it or something like that. But like we're just having fun, man. Yeah, we're just messing around. He's an old buddy that I used to go to school with. He's like my best mate. I've known him for like, God, nearly 20 years now, something like that. He's been on stream with me before. His name's Dan, Asian lad. So yeah, maybe some of you guys who are watching are familiar with him. So.
And I think that's something that people get lost in is like, hey, if it's not making money, then it's not important or it's not serious. But I think what's most important or most serious is to do the things that bring you some sort of fulfillment. Actually, there's a poet who his name's Oscar Wilde, author, playwright. One of the most important things he ever said, one of the things I take most to heart is he said, life is too important to take seriously. And that's always resonated with me because it's like, man, if you're not messing around, you're not living.
Yeah. I like that. You got to have fun, man. You got, especially, me and you, we're founders of pretty successful projects. We've done pretty well for ourselves, man. Like, and we just got to have fun now. Like once you get past a certain level, it's all about just finding. So it was dead weird. Like when I kind of started doing okay, because I was the epitome of poor pleb, bro. Like I had nothing. I remember like every month I would get paid and I'd have like £200 left over, and I'd be like, okay, this is me eating like ramen noodles and beans on toast for the whole month, but I'm gonna put that money into Hex. Like I need to buy Hex, right? This is when it was up at like, well, it was 2 years ago now, but it was when it was up at like, I don't know, 8 cents, 12 cents, something like that. I was just throwing every little penny that I could, getting raped 50% tax on my gas fees. And it was just like, man, it sucks. But like when you get there, it's like I haven't changed at all. It's just that I certainly have a different outlook on life now, where I just don't really care so much about like money's not so much of a factor anymore. It's like it's a tool, and once you've got a lot of the tools, you can kind of like just. Sorry. My point is that like when I got past a certain point, I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. It was really weird. Like I don't know what my hobbies are. I don't know what my interests are. Like I couldn't figure it out. I still now, bro. I don't know really what I want to do. I'm trying to find things that I enjoy but like right now, I'm just like head down working because me and my team, obviously we're going to get into this in a minute, but we've just found this like area of the market that's totally unfulfilled. And that's when I feel at my happiest, when I've got like a lot of work I've always been like a super driven guy. Like if I get sucked into something, I'll just fly with it and nothing else matters. I'm just concentrating on this thing. So that's kind of where I am now. And then once this is all said and done and we've made this work, like I need to find something else to concentrate on. So if I've got nothing to do, I'm a very fidgety guy, right? I can't sit still. Always have to have something going on, otherwise I just get bored like really quickly. So yeah.
I hear you, and that's actually let's take that as the perfect transition. So tell us about your official title. And I'm sure most people in the chat know who you are. Most people watching know who you are. But in case someone doesn't, who are you? What are you and your team building? Tell us about what you got going on.
Yeah, man. So I'm Hexy Bastard. I'm like the dick joke guy of the Hex community. I'm just a joker, comedian, whatever you want to call me, clown. It doesn't really matter. Not like the Joker clown, but like actual clown, like not LARPing clown or whatever. But like I'm just a guy who started streaming a couple years ago. I think I was the first UK streamer to come out of the Hex community, and I'd like to think that I really helped bring the UK Hexicans together. We had a chat room, and I was super active in there, and we had all these events going on, and I was doing these streams, and most of these streams honestly just consisted of me doing a bit of TA. I think my TA skills are quite good actually, but I would always just zoom out and there'd be like a massive dick there. And it was just like, so I'd be like really intricate with my like 15-minute, and then I'd zoom out to the daily and it's just a giant cock. Like, so I was just trying to poke fun at the whole thing. And my whole approach, I've always been, you know, I super respectful of Richard and everything that he does, but obviously he's a very clean cut guy. I know he had his spell last year with his outrage marketing, but he's always been clean and, you know, concise, and I would say quite PG in everything that he does, where I just wanted to be like, oh, fuck, shit, cunt, whatever, like, just have a laugh. And it worked out quite well. I built up quite a good following with all of that, mostly from the UK crowd, but even a lot of the American and Australian and like all over Europe, like these guys, they liked what I was doing because it was just something a little bit different from like the regular Hex streamers, I suppose, because they were all just, you know, math and T-shares, and that's all good. I used to consume so much of that content, and I still do actually to some degree, but I was just something a little bit different, a little bit weird and wonderful, or whatever you want to call it. And you know, I was plugging away, chucking all my money into Hex, like really, you know, I sacrificed everything I could for PulseChain and everything I could for PulseX, and waiting and just trying to kill time, and eventually kind of came up with this random idea. It came from the Hedron airdrop initially, actually, because when Hedron came out, I was so excited for this. I thought it was a sick idea. I was really, really looking forward to Hedron coming out, so I could go and claim all my Hedron with a 10x bonus, and hopefully there's some money there for me, airdrops, whatever. I spend, I think it was like $200 on gas, and I didn't look at the values. I just wanted to mint the Hedron, right? And then I checked how much I was going to get. Bro, it was like $2 or $3 or something like that. So painful, man. I was like, that was my DCA money for that month, was the $200 to mint on my Hedron. If I'd have gone and bought on market, I would have had like 1,000 times more than I'm ever going to get out of those particular stakes anyway. Whilst I still maintain that Hedron's a sick idea, and I love Hedron, it's awesome. Alex is a fucking wonderful developer. He's a smart cookie, that guy is. But just me as a little guy, as a minnow in the system, I felt a bit like, oh, fucking hell. Because one of my mates who's a big, he's a dolphin, I think, in Hex, he told me that he sold $500,000 of Hedron. It was just like free money, sold all of it that he was due at that point, and he got $500,000. I'm like, bro, I got like $3. Like, what is this?
You got bigger stakes.
Yeah. It was really shitty for me, man. I'm not gonna lie, but I still saw the value there. But the idea came along because I thought about Hedron and how it was geared up it was in a very fair way, but I think it was something that really only benefited the whales of the ecosystem, because they're the ones who actually had enough T shares or B shares, shall we say, to gain anything out of it, and they've been in the system longer. So it was a totally fair system, but I just thought, like, man, this whole airdrop thing is always geared up so that the big guy gets more and the little guy gets less and everything like that. Why don't we do an airdrop where only the little guy gets it and no one else, none of the whales get it? Like that's where the whole like whales get nothing thing came from. And I was thinking about something to do with pleb or like poor pleb. And then I said poor pleb. And then I thought, what would the ticker be? PP. And this was around the time that Richard was doing all of his outrage marketing. He was sat on the front of that G-Wagon with big PP written across the front of it and all of this. And I just thought, man, it's perfect. It's perfect. So it was myself and Moomin Man initially, we were working on it. and we were trying to think of, find developers and find graphic designers to do as a logo and whatever. And initially our logo idea was terrible, but then we met Crypto Krill and Crypto Biscuit, and Crypto Biscuit is a cartoonist by trade. And that's why we have such amazing artwork for PP, because he's kind of been drawing this character for years. He's just had like different scenarios and he never really found a use for it, but he's actually been drawing this particular guy for a long time. And as soon the first image he sent me, where he's like, I think he just epitomizes pleb, and he looks like he doesn't know what he's doing, and he kind of looks like a penis as well. So it might work. I think you'll like it. I was like, mate, yes, that guy. Yes.
Wow. Synchronicity, dude. One. That's cool.
It was cool. Perfect, man. It was perfect. So we went ahead, we did the sacrifice phase, which again, the whole sacrifice for Poor Pleb was a joke, because I wanted to poke fun at the fact that Hexicans just love sacrificing money with no expectations. There was so many, like a lot of them have rubbed now as well. So like, fair play to you and myself even for delivering on the thing that we said we were going to do. But I think about 8 out of 10 of the sacrifices that went ahead just didn't develop anything. They just rugged, or they ran away, or it was a failed, abandoned project, whatever. But we just, me and Moomin were talking about it, and we just wanted to poke fun at the sacrifice thing. So our sacrifice was for freedom of plebs, which means absolutely nothing. We haven't even gone with a political statement for 9inch because we think it's pointless. Like, people don't care what that reason is. They know the crack. It's just clever, like wordplay, really, to get around, stuff. So we did Poor Pleb. I think we had about 5,500 or 6,000 people managed to claim it, which is really cool. And I think most of those guys have held it. Poor Pleb is up, if you count both chains, because we had a huge dip on Ethereum side when PulseChain launched. But if you count both sides, I think basically everyone who sacrificed is up about 2x, maybe a bit less, maybe a bit more. But that's for like the littlest guys, because we had the volume bonus as well. So like the largest guy is a guy called Wojak. He actually sacrificed his entire Ethereum PP stack for 9inch, and he said he was up like, I think 2.5x on that, and that was when the price was at like rock bottom. So even he was like up 2.5x, and he just rotated that, but he still holds the Pulse version of PP. So I would say that was a pretty good success, because we did bring a lot of new guys into the PulseChain ecosystem that had nothing to do with it, like the meme coin guys. And I wanted to target these guys because I feel like there's not really anyone in our community that's doing it, because Richard certainly isn't going to do it. And meme coins are frowned upon, generally speaking. But I think a lot of us guys, because we've got that bias that it needs utility and it has to be something innovative and groundbreaking, they forget that most guys are here to watch number go up and just experience mad gains in like a week, rather than this delayed gratification of like 2 years, 5 years, 6 years, whatever. They don't want to wait that long. They want to gamble, and they want to go in on some shitcoin like Pepe and see it go up 10,000x in a week. We know that 99% of those get rugged, but it doesn't stop 30 to 40% of the cryptocurrency community just going in on this stuff. So we want those guys on PulseChain. Like, we really do, because it's a lot of volume and it's a lot of users coming in, and a lot of those guys are going to rotate into better stuff in the future. But it's just for PulseX, especially the buy and burn volume. That's what you want. It doesn't matter where the volume comes from. If it's buys, sells, anything, whatever coin it is, volume is the key, because volume means buy and burn. So I was always kind of bullish on that. And then I know I'm rambling on a little bit here, but I'll just finish this point quick.
Yep.
Yeah. So we moved on. It was the original Pulse Doge guys that did our development for Poor Pleb. I'm very friendly with those guys. PLD, the original Richard Hart dog meme, like they came out and got all the flack from the beginning because they were the first guys to do it. So they got maximum hate, everyone thought they were scammers. They're still blocked by a bunch of Hexicans, even though they've proven that they're not going to rug it or anything like that. And it was kind of funny. I got friendly with those guys, and they did our development for PP. And then they approached me back in, I think it was February or early March, basically asking if we would be interested in having PulseChain listed on an alternative DEX on PulseChain, which was focused a little bit more towards meme coins, exotic coins, things like that. At first, I was a bit like, I don't know. But then they explained the yield farming and how we could do single-sided staking for PulseChain and the amount of utility that would bring to our token. And just more eyes and yield for our users. It stops sell pressure. It adds buy pressure. It's just a great like system in general for any coin that's listed on there. So immediately the penny dropped, and I was like, man, this sounds sick. And we were just talking back and forth, and I came up with a couple of ideas, shared them with them, and then they just asked me if I would like to be a co-founder on it because of the history that we had. And I was just like, yeah, I'm down, mate. I'm down 100%. So here we are. The idea developed. We ended up deciding to call it 9inch as homage to 1inch.io, but a little bit bigger. Ties in well with our dick joke innuendos and things like that. Obviously, it's this beautiful big eggplant that's there. That's the logo. You can't forget a name like 9inch. You can't see that aubergine logo and forget it. It's sticky. And it's funny. And just everything about the project, just like, the whole path just kind of guided us to this place. And I really think that 9inch is going to be, because we're launching on Ethereum now as well. That's something that changed from the original. We were only going to do PulseChain, and then we just decided like we might as well go for Ethereum as well, because that's where all the volume currently is. So let's go for that. And I really think that we're going to be the second biggest DEX on PulseChain, and hopefully even the second biggest DEX on Ethereum as well. And if that happens, man, the amount of buy and burn pressure on the 9inch token is just going to be ridiculous. So yeah, that's kind of the story. That's how I sort of ended up where I am now. I'm sure you got like more detailed things to ask me, so I won't go too in depth with it now. I'll wait for your questions and all of that.
No, that is give me just one. There we go. Okay, so I had to turn the light off. It was throwing something in my headphones, so you get DarkKG now. Okay, so
KG after dark.
KG after dark. Here he is. No, that was really cool to actually hear the whole backstory. Sounded like a few of those milestones came in, a synchronistic or coincidental way, however, you out there listening choose to relate to that. But when those things happen in my life, I take it as, oh, I'm in the right place, right time. I guess this is the path I'm supposed to be on. So that's really cool to hear that. I think Poor Pleb, PP, I mean, it's hilarious. The original Pulse Doge guys, they've always been hilarious. I mean, their jokes are so witty. You guys as a whole group between 9inch, PP, PLD, it's great branding, it's great art. It is hilarious. It's actually a funny, sticky meme. I hear you on that. So let's dive in to 9inch itself. Tell me a little bit about, is it similar to PulseX in the sense that, well, is it similar to PulseX? Is it going to do everything PulseX does? What are some similarities, differences? Just tell me about it in general.
Yeah, so it's very similar to PulseX, but we've made a few improvements, I would say. So PulseX was a concept that was designed, almost 2 years ago now. I really loved the buy and burn feature. I think we can all agree that that's a fabulous, very bullish thing to have on a DEX. And to my knowledge, it's not been done before. So that's awesome. The way that we're going to differ from PulseX is, first of all, we're going to be on Ethereum as well. So I don't think there's a buy and burn DEX on Ethereum currently. So that's super bullish for us. But secondly, in PulseX, there is a 0.01% no expectations fee. So the way that the fees are broken down on PulseX is 0.22% goes to liquidity providers, 0.06% goes to the buy and burn of the PulseX token, and then 0.01% goes in a no expectations fund, which could be your dev fee or Richard Hart's wallet or whatever you want to call it. It doesn't really matter where that money goes, but it's not for necessarily directly for the benefit of the ecosystem. We've basically copied that, except the 0.06% is going to buy and burn the 9inch token, which is our deflationary DAO token. So once this is launched, that's the maximum supply, and then it's just going to be bought and burned from there onwards. You can use the 9-inch token to vote for yield on projects, which I'll get to in a minute. And then the 0.01% no expectations fund, that is being used to buy up our incentive token, which is called BBC, which stands for Big Bonus Coin, and absolutely nothing else. So
I didn't even think it was possibly something else. So you're good.
Yeah. So I mean, actually, like it is a slightly improved version, I would say, of PulseX, but the way it differs is that like PulseX is for your kind of blue chip, regular, standard crypto coins, and we're going to be focused on community coins and meme coins. So it's kind of 50-50. So 50% of it is community-based coins of guys that we know in the community that like we trust and we like. We don't even have to like them, actually. Like it doesn't really matter what our opinions are, but just known coins within our community are all going to be like listed by default. But our niche, the other 50% is going to be the meme coin market. And we're going to really, really push to get the meme coin guys to use our DEX rather than Uniswap or rather than PulseX for a number of reasons. I mean, we can all admit that on the PulseChain side, it's highly unlikely that you're going to get a yield farm for a community-based project. So for yourself, obviously, internet money and time, what are the chances? Forget the yield farm. Do you think you'll get a token logo listed on PulseX? Even just a logo.
I hear exactly what you're saying. There is, well, first of all, yes, the logos, they're working on some kind of application process for that, but I hear you. I'm talking to you directly. Hey, Hexy. Hey, 9-inch devs. Here's my community logo. Can you upload for me? Thanks.
Yeah, we'll have a form on the website for people we don't even know. So all they have to do is just fill out that form, and then we'll just quickly review the project. We're not going to be vetting projects as such. So we're never going to guarantee that a project is or isn't a scam or anything like that. That's not our job. Our job is just to ensure that when you're trying to trade a token, you can find it easily on the DEX, and you're not going to go and paste some dodgy contract address in and get scammed, basically. Mm-hmm. So we're going to try and focus on that as much as we can. But even if you did manage to get the logo on there, you're certainly not going to get a yield farm. You're certainly not going to get single-sided staking or anything like that. And that's the thing that attracted me the most to this idea, is that we can have a decentralized DAO where if there's a liquidity pairing on our DEX, anyone can use them tokens to vote for yield on those liquidity pairs. So for yourself, for example, you've got internet money and time. If they're, they can be paired with Rat Pulse or anything really, but anyone can create a pair on the website. Anyone can provide liquidity for those pairs on the DEX, but you need the 9-inch token to vote for it. Every month there'll be a vote, and then based on the percentage of the pool of the total BBC distribution, that is what your yield farm will get. And then based upon the market participants in that pool so you could literally go into an active pool with $1. If you're the only person in there, you will get 100% of the yield for that pool. But then if someone comes in with $10, you're down to 10%. So that's really how it works. It's competitive. And what's going to happen is we're going to get a lot of users coming in looking for yield, like hunting, like where can I get the most rewards for providing liquidity? If internet money's up there, like towards the top of the list with really high APY, say it's like 2,000% APY, people are going to buy that token and provide liquidity for you to get that yield. So it adds users, and this is we're kind of following the pancake swap model more than anything, because there's a lot of tokens on pancake swap that no one's ever heard of, but they buy it because they can get good yield on it. And we're also going to do the single-sided staking as well. That's a slightly different process, but for the liquidity farming, anyone can provide liquidity for a pool, get the pool listed as a farm just by voting for it with the 9-inch DAO. So that's going to be completely decentralized. And that's something that I find is going to be really, really attractive for anyone who has a project on PulseChain that maybe they're going to get overlooked by PulseX, because Richard is focusing on the PRC20s and the ERC20s and trying to get the big blue chips over. He's not going to list Shiba in it. Maybe he lists Shiba, but he's not going to list Pepe. He's not going to list internet money. He's probably not going to list liquid loans. All of these things, they never get, even if they're listed, they won't get a yield farm. So I think that's a huge area of the market that's just uncatered for, and that we can really seriously help out with this DEX. So
you're right, because if Richard or PulseChain team in general lists a token that is now an incentivized pool, well, that in some ways kind of could be perceived as at least an endorsement of that product, of that token. And so he will probably not open himself up to that kind of liability. So it is very cool, especially coming from myself as the founder of Internet Money, giving an avenue to IM, to time, to have another, utility. So let me actually ask you that question. So let's say 9-inch launches, and I'm going to kind of bleed into this question we be having an IM farm. 9-inch launches. Is IM by default incentivized, or it has to be voted upon after 9-inch launches?
It will have to be voted on. So like every pool is going to start at 0. Every month there will be a vote of some kind on the DAO, and then it's all based upon, so it's completely decentralized. So no, there's not going to be a single farm on there that by default gets it. Even, obviously we want to promote Hex on there. We want to promote PP. We want to promote PulseDoge. We're going to have to take tokens and vote for our own projects in order to make it happen. So if me and the team forget to vote one month, then PP and PulseDoge don't get any BBC rewards. So that's kind of how it's going to go. It's going to be a completely decentralized thing, which will run autonomously so that we don't have to have too much human interaction with doing any of this. So yeah, the 9-inch token is super required in order to get the yield on the farms. But this is why I think the 9-inch token is so bullish, because right now you can get in kind of at the ground level with the sacrifice and everything. But in future, if this takes off and we end up being like the #1 meme coin hotspot, every single token founder out there that wants to create a meme coin, of which there are fucking thousands of them, right? They want to create these meme coins. They're going to need 9-inch tokens. They're going to have to buy 9-inch tokens on market in order to go and vote for their liquidity pools. It's the only way that they can do it. There's no, we're not charging people. Like some DEXs, they charge people like, oh yeah, okay, so we want 100 grand and then we will list you in a farm. That's not fair. It's not a fair way to do things. So yeah, we're doing everything completely for the benefit of the 9-inch holders. That's, like, 9-inch holders is kind of a funny thing to say, actually, thinking about it. But so yeah, it's all for the benefit of the holders and for the ecosystem. So we're starting at like a flat rate kind of, and then as time goes on, if this thing takes off, more people are going to come along and buy it because they need that token to vote for their project. Or if not the founders, the community members will do it, because they know that if that token reaches a high level on the yield farms, it's more eyes, more people are going to go and buy it. And I think actually this is going to be a bullish signal for projects in the future that they are going to get a farm listed next month, for example, because the votes have been cast and you kind of can see what position everything's in. So yeah, I think it's a good way to do things. There's no bias. There's no like us, oh, we really favor this project, so we're going to make sure they get a farm. No, it don't work like that. It's only the 9-inch holders that can vote for this to happen. So I think it's a good way to do things.
So let me dive in a little deeper there too. Okay, so I understand. So each month, basically, you have to renew your incentivized pool, right? The community has to go back in, vote to renew the pool. Now, so walk me through a vote, right? I didn't quite comprehend what you meant when you say that there's, X amount of rewards and then the votes determine. Is it like, basic example, there's 100 BBC available to go out, and based on how much the vote towards a particular token was, so let's say 1% of 9-inch holders voted for IM, would that mean that the IM pool is getting 1% of the BBC rewards? Is that how it works, or is it like majority vote?
Yeah. So it's split completely evenly based upon percentage of votes. So let's say in total there was, again, let's use easy numbers, right? So let's say there was 1,000 9-inch tokens in total in circulation. If 100 voted for, so that's 10%. If only 100 voted in total, so 10% of the total 9-inch tokens, then that would determine the entire BBC supply for that month. So it's all based upon votes cast, and then it's percentage of votes cast for each pool that they vote for is where the money goes, essentially, or where the yield goes on that. So it's just going to be completely based upon like what the community does vote for. If people don't vote, then their votes just don't exist essentially for that month, and it goes by the votes that were cast. So it's going to be a very like just a basic kind of DAO system essentially for that.
So then okay, so you said 1,000 BBC, let's say. How is that overarching number determined for the month? You know, you know what I'm saying?
So this is one of the only things that there is like a slight element of control over. So we're using the same model that PancakeSwap uses with the Cake token. Now, Cake can actually, I believe I might be slightly wrong in what I'm saying here, but I'm pretty sure that it can inflate at the rate of 1% total supply per day, right? That's not good. You don't want it inflating at 1%, but that's just like the limit. So they can raise the inflation or they can lower the inflation, but I think it's capped at 1% per day. So that will be a floating number, and that will be adjusted to meet certain conditions in the market, right? But it's probably going to start at a rate and be left there for the majority of time. But if there's an event or something happens that we either need to increase or decrease the supply, then that will happen. But there is a cap of 1% per day, and I'm pretty sure that we're following the same model with the BBC. So that rate, it will be determined pretty much. But all of these things, by the way, if ever the rate is going down or up or anything like that, it will all be announced like well in advance. And it's just to basically cope with certain market conditions. So if price goes up to a crazy level on the BBC token, we might have to reduce that inflation because it's just going to get dumped hard at some point, and it might go down a lot further than what we would like it to, basically. So that might be a good idea. But generally, we'd like to not touch it. We'd rather just leave it at a rate. So that might be, so there'll be a minimum that it goes up by. So let's say we started and I'm just throwing numbers out, these aren't official numbers, but let's say the inflation was 1,000 BBC per day at the beginning, and then it can go up at a rate of 1% per day. So that would be 100 BBC total rewards going out per day. That might be a pretty steady number actually for a long time before we have to do anything to increase or decrease that. So we could even start it at the 1% and then slowly lower it over time, because obviously as the inflation gets bigger, there's more supply. So you might want to bring that number down a little bit to suit the actual supply of the total token. That's kind of how it's going to work. That's one of the only things that we've actually got control over on the contract. It's not an admin key. It is an admin key, but it's not a dangerous one, because all it's going to do is adjust that level. So there's a minimum and a maximum. So it's just somewhere between that level, because you kind of have to have that. Otherwise, you're going to get a death spiral coin. If it's going up 1% per day, that's just death spiral stuff, and we want the chart to go up. So.
Well, I do have a follow-up question, but I do want to make a statement about admin keys, is that there is this overarching sentiment that admin keys are inherently bad, and they're not. Admin keys can be bad. They can also be good. It depends on what the use of the admin key is. And this isn't to you, this is to everybody listening, because we have this immediate, admin key, it has to be immutable. Well, sometimes it's like saying, hey, I'm going to have a car and never give it an oil change. Well, that's fine. You're just going to run your car into the ground. So there are some systems in crypto that have to have admin keys because it is a way to maintenance a system. So I just wanted to put that disclaimer out there, because I know when you're like, oh, we got an admin key, you might get your neck in the pillory. So I just wanted to put that out there. But so going back to, let's say BBC, okay, you said 100 per day. Now, is that leading up to, let's call it, these are just my own terms, like a pot, a lottery bucket, whatever, and then it gets voted on and then distributed on the same day every month? Or is it 100 distribute, 100 distribute? How does that portion work?
So without getting like too technical, because I'm not the dev, so I don't know the precise answer to this question, but I think I know, so I'll have a go at answering it. So I'm pretty sure, excuse me, it's 100 distribute, 100 distribute. But on the single-sided farms, if you end your stake within, I think, a 2-day period. So if you start a stake and then end it within a 2-day period, you lose 2% of your yield for that period of time. It might be 3 days actually, but I think it's 2. So if you start a stake and then end the stake, you lose 2% of your yield. That goes into a wallet. That's a no expectations wallet, but I can tell you a couple of potential things that might happen with it. So a lottery, that you already mentioned that's one thing. Burning could just get burnt forever. Could be community rewards, incentives, all sorts of stuff. But I expect that fee is going to be minor because there isn't going to be that many people that start a stake, build up a huge amount, and then have to lose 2% of it. It's not really going to happen. So there will be a small amount for that, but very, very, very little, I would say. But yeah, as far as I'm aware, all 100 BBC goes out, just constantly goes out. So there's no backlog of tokens being held in a wallet ready for distribution. They just still go out by default in the code by farming and single-sided staking.
Understood. Okay, so, and I'm sorry I'm diving so deep. It's what I like to do here on this show.
No, it's good. It's good. I like it, man.
I like to learn the tokenomics. Okay, so let's go back to the example that only 10% of people of 9-inch holders voted that month. So that means 100 is BBC are being minted a day, but 100% of that BBC supply is getting distributed to the pools that the 10% of people voted on.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, so all right, Internet Money community, if you're out there listening, we're going to be voting on IM to be an incentivized pool. That's going to be a layer of utility for our token. So, okay. And then, okay, let's take one other layer here. So somebody creates an IM wrap pulse pool. Great. Liquidity is created. Other people participate in that pool. They get the LP token, the 9-inch LP token, and then they stake that in the 9-inch farm. And that's how they're earning BBC if the 9-inch holders vote for that pool to earn. Correct.
Yeah. So you can have your LP in a farming pool, but if no one votes for it, there's no rewards. So yeah, you're still going to get LP rewards as normal anyway. So if you're an LP provider and there's trading going back and forth, you're still going to earn the fees. You can benefit from the impermanent loss as well. Like people always say impermanent loss, but what about impermanent gain, man? If you're in something that like you like both sides and one side goes down massively and you get left with a lot of that, you can just pull your liquidity. Guess what? You're a whale. You're a whale in that thing that you like. So because it's gone down so much. So
you bought it like basically at a low price.
You basically bought it. Yeah. You basically bought it, and then you can trade with it or you can do anything. And then you can, if it's something that's supported by single-sided staking, then you can do that. But it's good to hear you encouraging your community to get in on 9-inch, because that's the whole point. It's a community effort. Like I don't really expect like founders as such to jump on this straight away, and I understand why. But like actually the ones that have got it, they understand the value of that vote. And it's certainly in the early months when we're kind of just taking off, that's when the yield is the greatest. Like that's the most yield you'll ever get on the platform is the first few months of being launched, because when things start getting busy and we have a lot of people coming in looking for yield, the incentives go down because there's more people participating. So earlier is better. So if you can be established up there quite early, then you're going to be killing it, at least for the shorter term. Definitely. I can see, by the way, just very quickly, Dulce Podgers in the chat. That's one of the devs. He's saying that the BBC gets distributed with each block similar to PulseX. It will be about 1 BBC per second. So technically, you can harvest your second rewards after 1 minute if you want to. So you can actually just constantly harvest the rewards if you'd like.
That's very cool. So technically, you could harvest your rewards after. Yeah. So this comment on screen here that HexyBastard was just reading is one of the devs on the DEX. So this information here is directly from the dev's mouth.
Yeah.
See. So, okay, I'll go ahead and read it. Hexy. The BBC gets distributed with each block. Similar to PulseX, it will be about 1 BBC per second. So technically, you could harvest your rewards after 1 minute if you'd want to. On 9-inch, you get both trading fees plus rewards. Unlike PulseX, where it's V1 and V2, right? Because yes, it's compartmentalized between PulseX, V1, and V2. Okay, very cool. And yeah, I think the reason that I like this for internet money in our community is, now look, this isn't an endorsement to go sacrifice, because I can never make such endorsement. But when the product is here, which I have no reason to believe that you and the Pulse Doge team are not going to deliver, I could see this being very valuable for the internet money community. Because how do projects become successful? It becomes successful by communities rallying around them, creating art, culture, and innovation, and bringing some kind of utility. Yes, I get it. Memes, that is a utility in and of itself. But when you're a token that's not a meme token, you got to get adoption. That isn't necessarily just, hey, number go up. So I like this because this gives internet money something for people to do with it, right? Because what we're trying to do for internet money, the IM token, is get it adopted for goods and services, give it use case. This is one of those things. We're working with the company right now that we're working towards getting IM accepted as payment for goods on their platform. So the more we can spread our tentacles, so to say, across the sea, the more vibrant IM should become. So as somebody who is trying to build utility for IM, I like this. I like this opportunity. If I end up with 9-inch tokens, you can rest assured where my vote's going. So
yeah, man. Well, that's it. Like, so I'm kind of like, obviously my tokens are like, poor pleb is just sort of a dumb idea, but I'm very passionate and I love my project, and I really want to see it succeed and be the best meme coin that's ever existed, right? That's always been, which is hard when you're creating a new narrative. If you've got an existing narrative that you can just jump on, it's much easier to do. And you're kind of the same, because you're launching your own narrative and your own sort of style of stuff. So it's harder to catch on when you're doing that. If we'd have gone out and did like Donald Trump or like fucking Pepe the Third or whatever it had been, that would be easier to gain adoption, because people are already adopted to that. So when you innovate and create something new, it's much more difficult. But if you are successful with it, it can go a lot further than any of those other things can. It can set a new standard for where things can go. So when the reason I was so enthusiastic about this at the beginning, before I was even involved in it, is I seen the utility that this could bring to my token and my community, how they could benefit from that. And I was just sold immediately. As soon as I got that, I was like, yeah, man, where can I sacrifice, mate? And then it ended up like they just asked me to help them. And, you know, in return for that, I'm going to ensure that PP is front and center of that. I'm going to ensure that we've got a good position to, you know, in the yield farms and the single-sided staking and stuff like that. So I'm happy. Like, I'm totally happy with all of that. And, you know, so far we've done $10.5 million on the sacrifice, which is just a god unholy number. So that just goes to show you how much belief everyone's got in this. And I anticipate a lot of that is from token founders and from community members of various things that aren't anything to do with me, and that they see the value in that. And we've had a lot of guys from well outside of the PulseChain ecosystem getting in touch as well, because they want to be a part of this on the Ethereum side. And I think we're going to get a lot of those guys over to PulseChain as a result. So we are going to cross network with a lot of people. But that's what I love about doing this project, is we're not competing with anyone. We want to shake hands with guys like you who have your own project and your own community. We're giving you a platform. We just want you to bring your liquidity here so that we can increase our TVL and add value to your users, and hopefully we all grow together. It's like shaking hands with everyone. This is what they did on Binance, right, at the beginning, and this is how we have to be on PulseChain, because it's the only reason that Binance got so big. They used to collaborate and work together. It wasn't about competition. if Binance works and then we all go up, like everything goes up. And we've solidified ourselves as like sort of like premium products on PulseChain, because there's a lot of shit coins out there that no one knows who founded them. They're just like random names with random tickers. But me and you and a few others, like all those guys in Builders Guild that you've got, for example, like we all know them guys, and we can all kind of put a fair amount of trust in these guys that they're building like premium shit on PulseChain. So that's good. And we've kind of solidified ourselves here. So if PulseChain goes up and is successful via more adoption, then we're all going to kill it, because we're already here. We're bonded to the liquidity of PulseChain anyway. And chances are most coins that are successful on PulseChain are going to actually outperform PulseChain on the price chart. So if PulseChain's going up and we're going up versus PulseChain, that just means moon. That's just pure moon. So I'm all about that action, man.
that's just pure eggplant right there.
Yeah. This guy, he's in a rocket ship, mate. He's flying. He's got but that's what happened with Ethereum. Is what happened with Binance. Like there was crazy moon coins that went on Binance, and that's because the rising water lifts all ships and all of that stuff. It's like PulseChain's going up, but you've got like a jet underneath you shooting you up as well. You're gonna fly, right? And I think there are going to be a lot of projects on PulseChain that outperform PulseChain, but PulseChain is an overall very bullish project. So that's like a fairly safe place to park your money. You don't want all your money in a meme coin. You don't want it all in one place. You need to spread it out. But like, it's like having money in Ethereum. It's a pretty safe place to put your money because it's not as volatile anymore. So, it's going to probably go up over time because there's demand there. But if you've got a coin against Ethereum that's on Ethereum, but like you've got your liquidity with Ethereum, if you're going up versus that, you're going to rise with it and you're going to take off further. So yeah, I just think like all of these guys, everyone in Builders Guild, for example, I'm confident all of those projects are going to be pretty successful. Just because we're in the right place anyway. Yeah. And thanks for setting that up as well, man. It's a good place to like network with other people and, like this is how we should be. Like I was saying a minute ago, it's all about shaking hands at this point. There's no competitiveness. Like Book, for example, he's doing his own DEX. There's no animosity. He's not like calling me a cunt or anything. We're friendly and this is how it should be. You need multiple DEXs. You need multiple resources. He's doing a different style of DEX to us anyway. So it's not even a direct competitor. But if this was Ethereum, we'd all be hating on each other because we want that market share, right? Whereas with this, it's like, man, there's plenty to go around. Let's just all win together. And that's what I'm all about, man. Like, I just want us all to win. That's it.
We all win when we all win. And I completely agree that is the sentiment of the PulseChain builders, is because we all believe in this as an ecosystem. And we all know that we are playing our own unique part and that each one of us is going to attract a different audience. And the more different audiences that we attract, the more people are going to come to PulseChain and the more we all win. And actually, one point that I want to say as well for 9inch is in our wallet, we are going to support 9inch as a DEX that you can swap on. So right now in the Internet Money wallet, if you go to swap any token in app on Android, iOS, or Chrome, you can see PulseX V1 and V2 pop up as options to swap on. Well, as soon as 9inch is live and we have those settings, we will load that as well, and you'll be able to swap on PulseX, 9inch. As other DEXs continue to come around, we'll have that service. But right off the bat, it won't be long after you guys give us the settings. You'll have an application on Android, iOS, and Chrome that your users can swap in, or they can connect directly to your DEX using the wallet. So it's also beneficial for us. And here's another one of those symbiotic relationships for this to be successful, because if people are using the wallet to swap on 9inch, then time holders are getting paid Pulse. So and then 9inch is winning, Internet Money's winning, time is winning, it's all winning. And that's just, the more we can work together to help ourselves and help our community and help PulseChain, I believe, and it only makes sense that it will become a successful ecosystem, which we all want it to be. So with that
will
said,
you have an aggregator on there? Quick question.
Yes, we have an aggregator, and currently we're actually working on upgrading it to do something very, very cool. But right now, you can select which DEX you want to execute your trade on, which is really cool because, like in this whole PulseX V1 V2 thing, we're seeing side by side trades where, like, oh, in this particular trade at this particular time, it's actually better to swap on V1 than it is V2 or vice versa, because we throw you all the quotes at once and you get to see which DEX yields you the most
Ah,
output.
that's nice, man. I like
Yeah.
that. I like that a
So
lot.
you'll be able
Yeah.
to see that there as well. And what we want to work towards is actually splitting up like a single trade across all the dexes, right? So maybe going to PulseX V1 or 9-inch, maybe either one of those wouldn't be individually the best trade. Whereas if we said, let's say we split 1/3 of your liquidity to V1, V2, and 9-inch, 1/3 each, you would actually end out with even more tokens because you got less slippage on all three dexes. But for the end user, it's just one swap. So we're working
Right.
towards upgrading to that. And so that's going to be bullish for you, because in that case, even if somebody doesn't select 9-inch, 9-inch is still going to get volume
Yeah.
because it's going to aggregate it across all the liquidity.
Yeah, that's you know what? I'm glad you said that, because I mean that's awesome that you're doing that, by the way. Like that's really, really cool. That's an amazing feature that you've added. And by the way, congrats to getting it listed on like Apple Store and Google Play and all of that. That's mega, mate. Well done, honestly.
Thank you.
That's sick.
That
That was
battle.
one of the things we kind of had in mind when we were creating this. Is like, oh, where are we going to get the volume from? And actually, it's aggregators. Like, we're going to get tons of volume through aggregators, so people won't even know what 9-inch is, but they're using it. And with us, especially on the Ethereum side, because there's not a DEX to my knowledge on Ethereum that has the buy and burn feature like we do. So as long as there's volume, there's constant buy pressure. And because we can be quick with the coins like Pepe and whatever else, like if we'd have already been launched, we would have had Pepe launched within about 4 or 5 days of it coming out, because we could see that it was about to take off. I didn't buy any of it because I don't buy shit like that anymore, man. Not when it's like too early or whatever. But we could see that the hype was there and there was volume building. So we could have incentivized their users to bring their liquidity here, earn rewards on it whilst it's going. And then and then they would have just, we would have brought tons of those users over to us. And actually, even if they didn't come over to us, because there's liquidity there, because some of them did, maybe 1% of their users came over and provided liquidity. Because there is liquidity there are going to be aggregators that route through us anyway. So even all the users that don't use it, if they use Matcha.xyz or 1inch.io, they would be using 9-inch inadvertently anyway. And that is bullish for our price on the 9-inch token, because it's buy and burn, and BBC as well. It's just buy and burn pressure. So it's actually fucking genius. The more I think about it, the more bullish I get. Like it's just great. Can't believe I'm involved in something like this, mate. It's just nuts.
Well, and also too, for your Ethereum side, we have our aggregator on Ethereum as well. So
Mate.
So on Ethereum and PulseChain, Internet Money Wallet will be aggregating trades to 9-inch. So it's really cool what you guys are doing, and we want to be a part of, again, that symbiotic relationship. Now we're approaching an hour. We have a few questions. I do want to get to the questions if you have a few more minutes.
Yeah, sure. Go for it, man.
All right. If you have any more questions, drop them now or forever hold your peace. Okay. Ted Nelson, how do we claim 9-inch from SAC, or is it an airdrop?
So it's not an airdrop. The only way you can get the 9-inch tokens is by sacrificing. Just go to 9inch.io and you'll see all the details on there. I think we're about 18 days in. So I don't know. But you've got about 2 weeks left to sacrifice, but the rate's going up every single day. So you need to, if you want to do it, you got to get in now, really. Like the earlier you get in, the more you'll get for your money, basically.
So just to clarify, so if Ted or whoever decides to sacrifice, when the time does come, they'll receive their 9-inch tokens in the form of an
airdrop. Yeah, sure. So they'll all be distributed by us to the users that have sacrificed. Yeah, and you'll get that on Ethereum and on PulseChain, of course.
Perfect. Okay. How does the single side auto compounding work? Do I need to hold ETH in my wallet, or does it pull out of the yield?
Auto compounding. So it won't auto compound. So it will if you do flexible staking, that auto compounds. But if you do the time locked staking, which is the one where you get the better rewards, so you kind get up to a 21x bonus on this if you lock up for 1 year, you do have to remove that because the yield will stop. So you have to remove it and then replace it back in. And eventually it starts eating away at your yield, not your principal, never your principal. But if you don't take it out after 2 weeks, it starts eating away at your yield because you didn't take it out, a little bit like Hex does. Yeah, if it's time locked, you have to remove it. If it's not time locked, I would ask that question in the Telegram, like try and get a hold of Kino in the Telegram because he will know the answer to that. But you can remove obviously the on the flexible at any time. I'm not so sure about the auto compounding, so if you wouldn't mind, just go to our Telegram and ask him there. That would be the best way. I don't want to give you the wrong answer.
There you go. Is it V3 liquidity?
So at this time, it's going to be V2 liquidity, very much the same as PulseX. In future, no expectations, but we probably are. Well, we are definitely looking at potentially rolling out V3 liquidity, as well as a couple of other little nice features that I think you guys will like. But no expectations. At the moment, it's a V2 liquidity DEX with a pancake swap yield type yield farm with PulseX tokenomics. That's the easiest way to explain it.
Okay. And Dulce Poger came back into the auto compounding question and says, BBC pools are the only one with auto compounding because that's the only pool where you stake and earn the same token.
Boom. Okay. Yeah. What he said.
What he said. All right. Sage Green. What's up, Sage Green? He's actually one of our admins in the Internet Money community. Thanks for all you do, brother. He says, the more tokens, the more voting power.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Okay. Alsamac, another one of our admins. Shout out, Alsamac. Thanks for all you do. He's saying here with the IM wallet, actually every swap within the IM wallet, we haven't talked too much about this yet. We're going to be making some big announcements soon. But it is a statement of fact that every swap on Ethereum and PulseChain that happens in the Internet Money wallet buys and burns Hex. That is a whole nother rabbit hole, but that contract already exists. It's operating as we speak. It's on our DApp. We're about to make some announcements soon. But Alsamac, good plug, brother. Good plug.
That's mad, bro. Good shit.
And hey, just so the seed is planted, we can launch that as well for PP or any of the tokens you talked about tonight. We can launch a buy and burn for it that is tied to the revenue that goes through the Internet Money wallet. So if someone's swapping through the Internet Money wallet on 9inch, well then, that's bullish for 9inch. But even if they go swap on PulseX or they go swap on Buck Fiat's DEX, it doesn't matter. We can buy and burn any token you want. So if you want to dive into that later, let me know.
That's pretty sick, yeah.
All right. Question for the 9inch dev. When aggregator expansion pack going to drop, please, sir? I don't know if I quite understand that.
I don't know if I understand that either. Like, I think what he means is like, it's probably something to do with like how you get listed on Matcha or 1inch or whatever. But I am aware that they basically scour the blockchain for stuff so that you don't actually have to go through this process with them as such. Maybe we will have to. I'm not the guy looking into that. Just saying, I'm just the clown frontman guy. Like I don't deal with any of that shit. So you might want to, again, I might direct you to the Telegram for that question. Latin America crypto, because I just honestly don't know what you're on about. Maybe he's joking about an expansion pack for the 9inch. I don't know, but sounds like a serious question.
like a surgery to make it 11inch or something like that. Yeah, I got.
Oh god, that's terrifying.
And actually, if you for the Telegram, for the website to reach Hexy Bastard, I will leave all the socials in the description of this video as soon as we're done. Looks like we got two more questions here. Okay. Kings Meadows says, If you sack 9-inch on ETH, you get a copy on PulseChain. And Dulce Poger says you get it on both chains.
Yeah.
And then King's Meadow also says win PP merchandise.
You can get PP merchandise. Someone set up a shop for it. I think it's called poorplebmerch.com. Poorplebmerch.com. I bought stuff off there. I didn't. If you go back to one of my older videos, I did a huge unboxing. I basically bought like one of everything off the website.
Oh, nice.
And I unboxed everything. It was some cool shit on there, man. I've got like I got a mouse mat, I got a mug, I got flip-flops with PP stuff printed all over them. Sick. I don't like flip-flops. I can't wear them, mate. They hurt my feet, but I'm gonna hang them up on the wall in my stream room. This is my temporary stream setup right now, by the way, because I've only just moved, so I haven't got it set up yet. But yeah, they're gonna be hanging on the wall behind me. I got towels, hoodies, everything, man. Socks. I got like 4 hats.
Nice.
They don't do any of these yet though. Like I need one of these hats doing with PP stuff on it. That'd be sick. Maybe I could just get like them little iron-on embroidery things, and I'll get like a 9-inch and a PP thing like all over one of these hats. That'd be pretty sick.
That would be sick. Yes, that would be absolutely sick. And yeah, I'll even drop the merch link in the description as well, so that you can have everybody out there can have all the resources and in every way to reach you. So that's all the questions from the chat. We have 49 people in here now. Is there anything you want to say as far as parting words? Anything we missed that you want to touch on? Floor is yours.
I think we've pretty much covered everything on the DEX. I mean, I just want to say thanks for bringing me on, man. It's a pleasure. I hope that we bring a lot of value and extra utility to internet money and time. If anyone's curious about it, or if wants to look at the details, we've got like an extensive Git book with everything written down in it, explaining how things work. Also, I would just, if you want to participate in the sacrifice, obviously there's no obligation to do so, but the most bullish thing about what we're doing at the beginning, because I've heard a few people say, oh, why sacrifice? Buy it cheaper on launch. I don't think you get a cheaper price on launch, and I'll just quickly explain why. For the first 2 days, the only token that you're going to be able to yield farm with is the 9-inch token. And then for the second 2 days after that, you can farm with the 9-inch token and the BBC token. So basically for the first 4 days from us launching, that's going to be like a period where we're voting for the other stuff. But for the first 4 days, you need the 9-inch token, otherwise you can't get any yield. And this is super important because the less participants there are, which there is going to be the least participants right at the beginning than there'll ever be, that is when you can get the most yield. So the most yield imaginable on the platform is going to be within the first 4 days of launch. And that is exactly why I don't think that the price is going to go down on launch. If anything, it's probably going to go up. Not financial advice. Do your own research. Try the testnet as well, because we've had a working testnet since before we even launched the idea to the public. So that's app.9inch.io. But yeah, I would just tell people, go to the website, join the Telegram, ask your questions. If you want to participate in the sacrifice, there's a big button at the top of the website that says sacrifice. Use a referral link and get 10% bonus. So yeah, I'll leave it at that. But yeah, cheers for having me on, buddy. It's always a pleasure talking to you.
All right. Great last minute chill. Again, I will drop all the links in the description. And thank you for always supporting Internet Money since having me on your channel, man, over a year ago at this point. You've always been supportive of us.
It
might have been 2 years
ago at this point. Yeah.
it's been a long time. We're happy to support, for those that support us, we're happy to share the support. So, man, thanks again for coming on. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Make sure to give us both a follow on our Twitters, on our YouTubes. I'm going to drop you down, sir. I'm going to say a few final parting words, and then I'm going to wrap the stream up.
Cool. Yeah, thanks again, man. See you in a bit.
Okay. All right, everybody. Well, that was the co-founder and founder of Poor Pleb and 9inch.io, a new DEX coming to PulseChain and Ethereum. There is a lot of cool features, as we heard on this stream. If you missed it, feel free to go back. We got into the nuance of the tokenomics. We got into the nuance of the social aspects. And there is probably so much nuance that we didn't even begin to touch upon. And that's the nature of a 1 hour conversation in this complex, both social and economic industry that we all know and love so well. So if you have any more questions, make sure to reach out to them on socials. If you have any questions about internet money, the internet money wallet, make sure to reach out to us on our socials, all of which can be found in the description below. And 2 points that I really want to highlight as parting thoughts for this stream. Point 1. One of the most beautiful things about PulseChain, arguably the most beautiful thing about PulseChain, is how the founders, developers, marketers, they all come together to create products for the chain, and they utilize each other's resources, knowledge, special skills and abilities to help bring themselves up, to help bring their allies up, and to help bring PulseChain up in general. And PulseChain has a very unique and strong and robust community, not only on the individual level, but on the project level. And that's one thing that I have not seen in another blockchain. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I'm saying that I have not seen it. And if you're ever wondering what makes PulseChain special, it is that right there. And second, the thought that I would like to leave everybody with is, what can you do out there if you're watching and you want to help support a project, whether it's internet money, whether it's 9inch, whether it's insert project here, it doesn't matter. The same principle applies to every single person and to every single project. Each one of you, each one of us has an individualized skill set. In some way, shape, or form, you are unique and you are skilled that no other human being is. And because of that uniqueness, because of those unique skills, you're going to attract an individual or multiple individuals, whether you have 100 million followers or 1 follower. You're going to attract somebody that nobody else in the world can attract. And it's your job, it's our responsibility as individuals to analyze who we are and how we can best be ambassadors of the brand, project, ecosystem that we believe in. Whether that's merchandise, music, galaxy brain math, whatever it is, you and your unique skills are needed to make any project that you believe in successful. So if you're watching this, this is a call to action to analyze yourself and apply your unique abilities to the projects and ecosystems that you believe in. And with that, thank you everybody for watching. We're going to end the stream as always with the Internet Money Anthem. It's only 2 minutes. It's got vibes. It's got philosophy. And I hope you enjoy it. So for everybody that tuned in, all links in the description. Like and subscribe. And until next time, peace.
What is cryptocurrency? Cryptocurrency is more than just money. Cryptocurrency is a lifestyle, a philosophy, an ecosystem, the means by which human beings to attain financial freedom, not just in the sense of multiplying their investment, but giving humans the ability to interact with money in any way that they see fit. And if that way doesn't already exist, that's the beauty of crypto, is you can create it. And that's what we've done here. Internet money is the future. Internet money is the future. What is internet money, you ask? Well, it's just that. The future. Internet money. Internet money is the future. Internet money.
They Scott on the blockchain.
Internet money. Internet money. Financial freedom. Internet money. Internet money is the future. Internet money. the future. Internet